The sun shimmered over the Parker family estate, painting the backyard in warm golden light. Birds chirped, fountains gurgled, and everything looked like it had been lifted straight from a magazine. It should have been a perfect day, a calm, happy moment for a simple family photo shoot. But even in this flawless setting, perfection was about to collide with reality. He'll ruin the perfect family image. Vanessa's voice cut through the hum of conversation like acid, sharp and deliberate, as she smoothed her designer blouse and deliberately turned away from my son James in his wheelchair. My hands tightened on my camera, my chest ached, and I felt my stomach twist. This gallery exhibition could make my career as a photographer. I couldn't afford imperfection. My name is Olivia Parker, and at that moment, standing in my in-laws' grand backyard, everything I thought I knew about family, loyalty, and love felt like it was being rearranged. James, my 7-year-old with bright, curious eyes, clutched my hand tightly while his other rested confidently on the wheelchair controls. His favorite superhero t-shirt was slightly wrinkled, his cape tucked into the back of his chair, and yet he radiated bravery. "He's your nephew, Vanessa," I said softly, keeping my voice calm even as my blood boiled. "This is a family portrait, exactly," Vanessa said, flinging her hand at the group of relatives gathered on the garden terrace. Every detail, flowers, tables, dresses, was curated to her vision of flawless beauty. "Family portraits need to show the best version of us, the perfect version," she continued. "I'm showcasing these at my gallery next month. It's my big break." My mother-in-law, Margaret, the self-appointed peacekeeper whenever it suited her agenda, stepped forward hesitantly. "Perhaps James could wait inside? We could take a few without all the equipment." She cast a nervous glance at James's wheelchair, as if it were a stain on her carefully polished image. I looked at my husband David, silently pleading for support, but he shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. 10 years of marriage, and still, he couldn't stand up when it mattered most. "Mom," James's small voice trembled. "Why doesn't Vanessa want me in the pictures?" That was it. Something inside me snapped. "We're leaving," I announced, spinning James's wheelchair around. "If my son isn't welcome in your perfect family portraits, then neither am I." "Oh, don't be so dramatic," Vanessa called after us. "You're making a scene. This is about art, not about what?" I cut her off sharply, my voice echoing across the terrace. "Not about discrimination. Not about teaching children that they're only valuable if they fit your narrow definition of perfection." Aunts, uncles, cousins all stood frozen, caught between discomfort and shock. My father-in-law busied himself with his phone, pretending the scene didn't exist, while David's cousin suddenly discovered a fascination with the manicured lawn. "You're ruining everything," Vanessa hissed. "This exhibition is my chance to break into the art world. These family portraits are meant to showcase the beauty of perfect family moments." I almost laughed at the irony. Perfect family moments. Like making your nephew feel unwanted. Like teaching your child that their cousin isn't worthy of your precious art. James tugged at my sleeve. "Mom, it's okay. I don't need to be in the pictures." My heart broke. This boy, who had faced more challenges in 7 years than most endure in a lifetime, born with spinal muscular atrophy, who would never walk, had never let anything dim his bright spirit. Until now. "No, sweetheart," I said, firm and loud enough for everyone to hear. "It's not okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your wheelchair. The problem isn't you. It's people who can't see beyond their own prejudices." David finally spoke, his voice small. "Maybe we could just hide our son away? Teach him to be ashamed of who he is? Is that what you want?" I cut him off. He fell silent. And in that quiet, I made a decision that would change everything. "James, sweetheart," I said, kneeling beside him, "how would you like to do our own photo shoot? Just you and me." His face lit up. "Really? Can I wear my cape?" "Absolutely. And you know what? We'll make it even better than this one." Vanessa scoffed. "Oh, please. What do you know about photography? You're just trying to spite me." I smiled, thinking about the cameras in my home office, my long-abandoned photography degree, and the connections I still had in the art world. "You'd be surprised," I said. "Come on, James. Let's go home." As we left, I could hear Margaret trying to reorganize the group and Vanessa complaining about the time we'd wasted. But I didn't care. I had a plan for Ming, plan to teach her a lesson, and more importantly, to show James that being different didn't mean being less. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Hello, Marcus? It's Olivia Parker. Remember that favor you owe me? I think it's time to cash it in. How would you feel about hosting an exhibition next month? The wheels were in motion. For the first time in years, I felt the rush of excitement I had once known. The thrill of picking up my camera again. Vanessa wanted perfect family portraits. I was going to show her what real family looked like: messy, bright, alive, and beautiful in its imperfect glory. On the drive home, James turned to me, curiosity shining in his eyes. Mom, what are you planning? I squeezed his hand. Something amazing, sweetheart. Something that will show everyone just how perfect you already are. The following weeks were a whirlwind. Vanessa flooded social media with sneak peeks of her perfectly staged portraits, while I transformed our spare room into a bustling studio. James became my most enthusiastic model. Can we do another one with the spaceship backdrop? He asked one evening, his cape fluttering behind his wheelchair. I want to look like I'm flying through the stars. I adjusted the camera settings, smiling. Absolutely. But first, one more with the natural light by the window. The sunset is perfect. Our photo series grew into something far bigger. Then I imagined candid portraits of real families, children and parents facing challenges, siblings supporting each other, moments of struggle and triumph. Each image told a story of love that wasn't perfect but was real. One afternoon, David walked in, stopping short at our setup. Liv, what is all this? He asked. These are what families really look like, I said, showing him the photos. James laughing as he did a wheelie, the sunlight catching his face just right. Marcus Reeves is hosting the exhibition the same night as Vanessa's opening. David's voice cracked. Marcus Reeves? That's one of the most prestigious galleries in the city. Vanessa's going to lose it. Maybe she should have thought of that before excluding her nephew, I replied. James wheeled over, proud. Dad, want to see the space photos? Mom made me look like an astronaut. David knelt beside him, really looking at the images, and for the first time, I saw him understand what it all meant to James. These are incredible, buddy. You look like a real superhero. I already am one, James said, beaming. We're calling the exhibition Perfect Imperfections, I said, smiling at my son. David looked at me, something shifting in his expression. I'm sorry, Liv. I should have stood up to them that day. Yes, you should have. I agreed. But you can stand up to them now. The day before both exhibitions opened, Vanessa called. How dare you? She screamed. You're trying to sabotage my big night. Half the family is talking about going to your exhibition instead of mine. Funny how that works, I replied calmly. People seem interested in seeing real family moments instead of staged perfection. Real family moments, she scoffed. You're just bitter because I wouldn't let your son ruin my photos. Not everyone wants to see disability in there. Already thought about the dozens of families who participated in my project, about their stories, their strength, their beauty. You know what, Vanessa, that's exactly why this exhibition needs to happen, because people like you need to see what you're missing. Is that what his is about? Revenge? No, I said firmly, it's about showing my son and every O'Neill's that different doesn't mean less, that real beauty isn't about perfection. While she snapped, we'll see which exhibition the critics prefer tomorrow night, won't we? Yes, I agreed we will. After hanging up, I found James in his room practicing his speech for the opening. We decided he would introduce the exhibition, something he was both nervous and excited about. Mom, he looked up from his notes. What if people don't like the photos? I sat on his bed reaching for his hand. Honey, these photos aren't about what other people like, they're about showing the truth that every family has its own kind of perfect. He nodded thoughtfully, like how Tommy's mom carries him up the stairs because his legs don't work, or how Sarah's sister helps her eat when her hands shake too much. Exactly, I smiled, thinking of the other families we photographed. Those moments might not look perfect to people like Aunt Vanessa, but they're beautiful because their real. Dad said's coming to our exhibition instead of Aunt Vanessa's, James added. He said he's proud of us. I felt a warmth in my chest. Maybe this project was healing more than just James' hurt feelings. Maybe it was healing our whole family, or At least the parts that were willing to be healed that night. As I finished mounting the last of the photos for the exhibition, I came across one I'd almost forgotten about. It was from years ago, before James's diagnosis. Our whole family together at a picnic. Vanessa was there, actually smiling at baby James on her lap. Margaret and my father-in-law were there too, looking relaxed and happy. For a moment I felt a pang of sadness for what we lost, but then I looked at our new photos. James, being me in his wheelchair, proud and strong, surrounded by other families who understood that love doesn't require perfection. We've lost something, yes, but we gained something far more valuable: the courage to be authentically ourselves. Tomorrow both galleries would open their doors. Vanessa would show her carefully curated vision of family perfection, while across town we would show the beautiful reality of family love in all its forms. And regardless of what the critics thought, I knew we'd already won. The night of the gallery opening arrived with an electric energy in the air. I helped James straighten his bow tie as we stood outside Marcus's gallery watching Plestrium in far more than I'd expected. Ready, superhero? I asked, giving his holder a gentle squeeze. He took a deep breath, gripping his note cards. Ready, Mom. Inside, the gallery was transformed. Large black and white photos lined the walls, interspersed with vibrant color shots. Each image told a story of father carrying his daughter with cerebral Pithra, a splash pad, both lacking with pure joy, a teenager in a wheelchair helping his younger sister with homework, James suspended in midair against a star-filled backdrop, his cape flowing behind him like a real superhero. Olivia, this is extraordinary, Merrick said, approaching us with a champagne flute in hand. The rawness, the emotion, it's exactly what the art world needs right now. Before I could respond, I heard a familiar voice behind me. Mom, that place is packed. David hurried over, looking slightly frazzled. You won't believe who's here. Half the family come in. They brought friends, even Dad showed up. My father-in-law stood near one of larger prints, studying it intently. It was the photo of James doing a wheelie, his face full of determination and joy. The murmur of the crowd quieted as Marcus stepped up to the small podium with "Set up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Perfect Imperfections. Tonight we're honored to have a very special guest introduce this extraordinary exhibition." James wheeled forward, his nervousness forgot as he began to speak. "Hivrion, I'm James Parker, and these are me family photos, not just my mom and dad, but all the families who are different just like mine. My aunt once said I drew in a perfect family picture because of me wheelchair, but Mom showed me that being isn't ruining anything, it's just being real." The room erupted in applause. I noticed my father-in-law wiping his eyes and several of the art critics nodding appreciatively. Then the gallery doors burst open and Vanessa stormed in, her face flushed. "Nobody came," she announced, her voice shrill. "My exhibition is empty because you all decided to commando this." She stopped short, finally looking at the photo surrounding her. Her eyes landed on one, and in particular the old family picnic photo I'd included, placed next to a recent shot of James in the same park. That's from before," she said quietly. "Before what, Vanessa?" I asked. "Before you decided your idea of perfection was more important than family." She stood there taking in the crowd, the critics, the overwhelming response to the exhibition. Then her gaze fell on James, who was being congratulated by a group of admirers. "I never meant to," she started, then stopped. "The photos are beautiful, Olivia, all of them." It wasn't quite an apology, but something in her expression had shifted. "Sometimes seeing yourself through others' eyes can be the harshest reality check." The evening wound down with incredible essays. 3 critics wrote glowing reviews on the spot, and Marcus had already sold several prints, but the real triumph came when I found James surrounded by a group of kids, some in wheelchairs, some not, all excitedly planning a group photo shoot. Mom heckled out, "Can we do it? Can we take pictures of all of us together?" "Of course you can, sweetie." Margaret appeared at my elbow, looking uncharacteristic. "Olivia, you were wrong. The Sephitas, they show such love, such beauty. I'm sorry we couldn't see it before." Later that night, as David helped me pack up the remaining prints, he pulled me close. "You know what James said to me earlier? He said he's glad and Vanessa didn't want him in her photos, 'cause then you wouldn't have made all this happen." I looked around the gallery at the walls covered with images of real families, real love, real moments of both struggle and triumph. Sometimes the best things come from the worst moments as well. If I notice one last guess lingering be the photo of James as an astronaut was in a wheelchair herself. Probably around 15, and she was crying. Ever think okay? Asked gently. She turned to me with a smile. Yeah, it's just I've never seen anyone like me in an art gallery before. Not like this, not looking strong and beautiful and perfect. I suggested. She nodded. Perfect, and that's how I knew this wasn't just about proving Vanessa wrong or healing our family's wounds. It was about changing the narrative one photo at a time, showing the world that perfect doesn't mean flawless. Perfect means real, authentic, and beautifully human.